Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new session, this new tech social. My name is Gabi. I'm a business systems analyst here at Cogent. And we have also Miguel and Alfonso. Both are tech leads, SAP consultants, and JavaScript developers. The topic today will be low code and no code, as you can see in the screen. Basically, this low code and no code is an emerging trend, let's say, that allows people to create software applications and tools. And it can be people with no coding experience or just little experience, or it can be people with 10, 15 years of experience that can use this as well. And that is precisely what we are going to be discussing today. Basically, the benefits, the challenges, pros and cons, what's the difference between low code and no code. And also, we are going to present some of the tools that are out there for us to use. You are more than welcome to raise your hands, questions or anything that you would like to mention about this topic. And then now we can start. So I think, Miguel, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gabi.
Yep.
Yeah, let's start talking about this topic. As you know, this is a trend right now. And one of the main benefit we can see as developers or even for like business owners is basically we can optimize the workflow, several workflows, and also we can improve a lot the productivity. So that's why right now we have this trend. And actually, it's also very good to have those kind of tools because sometimes we have specific requirements and you don't need to start from scratch. As developer, you don't need to mount everything from scratch. So you can easily use those tools and create basically from a template, you can create this project and you can just modify a bit that template. So that's why we are getting this on trend. Hi, Alfonso. I'm not sure if you want to comment something about those concepts or general view you have about it.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think many companies I have been invested in this kind of solutions because we have low code and no code. Low code is that you have a platform where you can build an application, could be mobile or web application, and then you can enhance with some code that application. And no code is like a very easy to use platform where you can drag and drop components in order to build that application. Okay, so low code maybe could be as we are seeing here to boost developers and increase the go-to-market application. And no code is for end users or business users that want to create something specific to use.
Yeah, great. I'm not sure from the listeners, the audience, you have tried a kind of tool like that. I'm sure can help us with their experiences about it. Have you heard about it?
Nobody.
Nobody? Okay, good job. Good learning then. Okay. So we're going to try to show you several examples here, but I guess it's a good idea to start from the big picture, right? We have an alternative. As you know, we have a lot of languages, a lot of IDEs, technologies, platform. But right now, even the biggest companies around the industry, the technology, they are also providing those kind of tools. So obviously that's a trend, and we are using it right now in a daily activities. We are working with those. So we just want to show you this slide at the beginning, because it's important, right? To establish we have those two main sectors, the low code and no code. Okay. Let me continue. Okay. I'm not sure if you want to start talking about the pros and cons.
I want to ask you something.
Yeah, sure.
Why do you think that these kind of big companies such as SAP, AWS, Microsoft, Oracle, maybe, are investing in this kind of solutions?
Yeah, it's valid, right? I think they found a pain point. Sometimes we start working with big projects, and obviously with specific requirements, but we also have those as small projects, right? And sometimes even if you have a big project, every day you are seeing like a specific requirements. So I think there's a gap there, and actually we saw it, right? Every time here in different projects, we usually are mounting a big and complex environment just to fix or just to achieve a specific goal. Mm-hmm. So, and same time, that's very expensive, right? So that's also why I think this is a good alternative, and they are seeing that. And additionally, for example, if you have an idea, you have a startup, and you just want to validate the concept and the minimum viable product, mm-hmm. I definitely think it's much better if you start working with those tools instead of mounting your AWS infrastructure and start thinking on spend a lot of money, right? So that's why I think they saw that.
Okay. Yeah, could be. Also, I think that we face that kind of problem, that there are a lot of misunderstandings between the...
1 minute, I'm checking whether he is in there or not, Diego, okay?
Sorry, Radhika.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No worries.
A lot of misunderstandings between the customer or the final user and the development team. So also, okay. I think this could reduce that misunderstanding, because maybe the final customer can create a simple application and show what they need, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's actually the idea of the design thinking approach, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a personal experience, but as developer, I always try to code. Doesn't matter the requirement. I just want to code, and I just want to show that. So that's a very bad practice, because we cannot get an agreement between the client and between the business partner and the technical team. So that's why we have those cool things, methodologies such as design thinking, right? So probably because we have right now mockups and wireframes and prototypes, but this one can help you a bit even more if you have in the middle a real-time prototype. Because without modifying the code behind the scenes, you can easily drag and drop, you can modify there in a live session, and you can get better agreements, right? A better understanding. So that's why I think this is also a very good benefit.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you want to talk about the cons, because we found several of them.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest cons that these kind of tools have is the customization. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes there is like a kind of box, for example, that
Mhm.
and you cannot customize that, or there is one table and you cannot customize the table.
Yeah,
So
especially
the
with the no code, right?
yeah, exactly.
Tools.
So the elements are not uh, are restricted to be customized.
Mhm.
And also, I think, especially for no code, you cannot add many rules or many validations in those elements,
Mhm.
because it's hard to add a lot of intelligence in the application if you are just dragging and drop elements, right?
Yeah, definitely. I have tried 3 weeks ago Flow. Okay, Flow is a low code where you can easily create mobile apps using Flutter. So beginning is amazing because you have templates, you have like a by default connections through Firebase.
Okay.
So basically, you don't have backend knowledge. You can create the whole life cycle of the application with Flow. That's amazing. The problem we found is if we have a specific screen, I'm not sure if client says, okay, I want this behavior. I don't like the standard behavior. There, basically, we have a pain point because the way you can modify or custom the screen, it's a bit complicated.
Okay.
So the good alternative there, for example, is you can export. You can export the code. So, but again, that basically will go back right to the purpose of this technology. So you just use this one just to create a draft, and then you need to export, continue working with the whole project. Probably that could be a limitation, but at the same time, it's also a pro, right?
Yeah, sure.
Depends of the project and actually your limitations or your requirements. But this is a good example. It's okay. We started very quick. Everything is amazing. But once we start to see specific changes in the screen, then we have problems.
Sure.
That's why we are showing that, right? You can see, you can verify what you need, and from there you can take a decision.
Yeah,
If
sure.
you identify the project is very complex, from my perspective, it's not a good recommendation to start working with this.
Yeah, because I mean, for example, if you go to market with a simple application,
Mhm.
and then you start to scale up, and then you want to add more functionality to your application.
Mm.
So maybe in some time you will need to decide if you go with a low code or no code platform to scale up, or maybe you in some point you will need to change to a complex a project to create that application that you want, right?
Yeah.
Also,
That's true.
for example, I think WordPress is a tool that we had since
That's true.
20 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it is not too new, this
Yeah.
technology. You're right. Yeah.
And
Even,
you can create a simple application I mean, a web page in 2 hours,
correct.
completely. But if you want to create like some effects and kind of things,
Yeah,
you cannot do that, right?
Yeah, that's true. We have old version of those tools also.
Yeah.
Gabi, I'm not sure you wanna add something here, Gabi. Have a question or listeners, the audience?
Yeah, if anyone has a question, you can raise your hand, or else you can put it on the chat.
Okay.
If there's any, I'll let you know.
Hey, Miguel. This is Aditya.
Hey, Aditya.
What platforms are currently leading the low-code, no-code transformation in enterprises?
What plan? Sorry, didn't.
What platforms?
Platforms.
Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna see several examples here. Probably we can continue working on. Moving on for the next slide. Alfonso, something to add here, or we can?
No, we can move forward.
Okay. So as Alfonso said, we can see a lot of tools right now. So here I mentioned several of them. What I tried before is Amazon Honeycode, the PowerApps, Retool, and Webflow. But even SAP, everybody's launching those kind of tools. So again, here, we need to review what we have, right? If we have a specific project with a specific technology, we can then determine what we need and if this technology fits for that project. Okay, so that's basically the decision there. Is okay, we have a new project, everything is in Google. Okay, let's try to use App Maker, right? Or we have a big client who is basically is working with Office 365. Then it makes sense to use PowerApps. So, and actually, if we have just an idea, we can avoid those big infrastructures, and we can just use Webflow or Flow, or even Retool. So there, we need to review what we have, what is the scope, what are the challenges we need to fix there, we need to achieve there, and from there we can choose. So yeah, I'm not sure you want to add something here, Alfonso.
Yeah, SAP also has a platform, a low-code platform that is called AppGyver. SAP purchased that company like 3 or 4 years ago, and they are pushing a lot that platform or that subscription, and they have built some applications in that platform for I know a use case for a very global company, a logistic company, and they say that they built their application in only 1 week, consuming services from the SAP ERP from and it looked amazing. I mean, but also again, we need to analyze the use case, and then we need to decide if it is correct or if it is fit in this kind of platforms. Right.
That's also a good point. Actually, I'd like to talk about the backend side, because okay, those tools basically are providing a front end. Okay. Mm-hmm. But what's happening with the backend? That's a problem, right? Because a lot of clients are saying, okay, this is magic. We can just drag and drop and we can create from scratch a very cool application. But if you have a big system, that means you need to connect that screen with your backend. And sometimes we don't have those services. Mm-hmm. So the estimates and everything needs to be covered on that direction. I also wanted to mention that because it is just not a front end, right? You have a lot of databases, you have a lot of sources, a lot of APIs, third parties.
In this use case, the one that SAP talk about, they had the services built. So they don't need to build that services.
You need to pick them and
exactly. They just consume the services. But yeah, for example, Honeycode, they have like an Excel behind that is doing like a database. So since the development point of view, since the very beginning start, you can see that this solution Honeycode is for very simple applications.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Because you have like an Excel and that's your database.
Data source, yeah.
Yeah. So you cannot scale up too much this kind of applications.
Yeah, completely agree. I can see Edgar is here. Hey, Edgar.
Oh, hi,
Hey,
Edgar.
guys.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, can you guys see me?
Great.
Yeah, I just decided to go for a small walk, and I was hearing what you guys were saying, right, about this this technology and how we in these sort of cases we have the APIs there, and then we are connecting to them. So there's always this this other side that at this point it's more like a promise to build these applications like really fast, but sometimes there are these considerations that we are not making, right? So definitely I think that's an important aspect there. And on the other side, I'm not sure if you guys already covered like this way in which we can create these applications and then also take advantage of you know, adding the code, right? Especially in these low code applications. So it also speeds up the development, but up to a certain extent, right? And something else that I wanted to mention is about this easiness of development for the front end, for example. Something that I discovered the other day is some applications or some of these platforms are already implementing AI into them.
Yeah.
Right? So that's even, I believe, more interesting because we are not just talking about dragging and dropping, but also for these custom parts, we can also use AI. And I think that's also something cool that will let us create applications faster, true, but at the same time, we keep needing this, you know, this logic and this logic tools, I would call them, right? So we can build these applications. So
front-end developers, we have a big problem.
Yeah. All right. So please go ahead, guys. I mean, I just jumped in, but these were some points that I wanted to bring as well, bring up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can review very quick the options we saw. Just quick view, big picture about those technologies. You can also create accounts, can try the demos. So it's a good idea to try with those tools just to verify what you have there. Okay, a quick example of that is, I'm not sure if you have you have worked with Figma. So basically here we have similar behavior, can drag and drop components, but with this additional tab, right? You can here directly connect to a database, or you can call an API, a service, your backend. So in real time, you are doing that. You are modifying the interface and you are connecting your data source. So that's basically the behavior we have here. So for example, here you can same time, right, with different device resolutions. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this one. Sure, you want to add something, Edgar, also here, or can I show the rest of the apps I have for today?
No, continue.
Okay, the second one I have is PowerApps. This tool, it's amazing. Imagine you have a Figma project, then you can import that project, and in a few minutes, you're gonna see the application built. That's crazy. Obviously, once you have your, from Figma, once you have your platform there, you have your screen there, you need to verify what you need. Do you want to connect to a specific database, a specific service? But you have that option, and that's amazing. And also, what I saw very important here is the flows. Right now, we have, through the business model in a project, we have those pieces with approval validations, with human events, right? So you can easily automate that logic through flows with those kind of tools. So for example, here with PowerApps, we have flows. So you can connect services, emails, you can trigger, I'm sure, a notification. You have those alternatives and you just need to drag and drop. So that's amazing. Okay, so this is for PowerApps. Also, here we have this one, the honeycode. Probably here, because I need to subscribe to this one, but you can also see that documentation, right? The behavior and the aspect is very similar.
Yeah, sorry, before we go there, Miguel, I'm intrigued, right? I didn't see or haven't worked with that particular functionality between Figma and the actual PowerApps interface, right?
Yeah.
So what happens? I mean, in Figma, for example, you can design a button, right? But it keeps, it's still like part of the layout. It's just a component, a set of vectors, right? So what happens when you import one Figma project to PowerApps? Is it really converting that vector to one actual button, or how does that work? I mean,
I tried just importing the whole project, and I got this one. Okay. So probably this is the view, the web view. But I also saw the documentation. You need to specify the name of the components. You need to follow a specific structure just to help PowerApps to interpret it, to translate that vector into a component. So, but yeah, it's happening. You have a table and you specify a table and you follow several rules, you're gonna get a table here.
Wow.
So yeah, that definitely, it's amazing.
So this PowerApps needs specific way to Figma project to build, right?
Yeah, to follow rules. Yeah, that's amazing. The main problem I can see here with Microsoft is this works very well if you are inside Microsoft. You use Office 365, your whole company is working with Microsoft, that's amazing. But if you want to create a new project from scratch, I think it's not a good idea to use this tool because you will be forced to buy licenses, the whole environment in Microsoft. So it's very important to mention that.
Yeah, I think that's another crucial aspect, right, of using these low-code technologies. For me, I remember when I first saw this concept a few years back, then I was thinking, oh, this sounds amazing, right? And once that you start using them and testing them, right, and you start figuring out like the limitations these platforms have, then you also, start thinking if you really want to go with this or not. So in particular, one of those limitations, I believe, is or what used to be that for many of these platforms, you kind of get trapped, as you were saying, in the particular context or in the particular platform, right? So you can always see the components, you can always see like the logic that you have there, but in order for you, for example, to deploy one mobile application, you have to do it only from the platform, right? Or from the platform only. And then that becomes a problem because one day something happens and maybe they change some policies or the underlying technology or anything like that. And then you find yourself kind of trapped there, right?
That's true.
And that's something that you really want to avoid while considering working with these platforms, because in my experience, what you want to look for is first that you can export the project somehow, so you can keep going with it in case you need it. And the other one, of course, is that you can extend the platform, right?
Correct.
Because sometimes there are particular components, there are particular controls that you can use, but that sort of limits you, right, on what you can do, and especially for larger applications that require like more complex requirements. For those, you really want to have that flexibility, right?
Yeah, actually connected with that, let's talk about the pricing, because that also needs to be covered there if you're estimating a project, because it is not too, I think it's a bit expensive, depends of your requirement. But for example, here, if you have a big team of developers, you're gonna need a seat per developer. So that will increase a lot the monthly budget pricing. So it's also need to be there, right, at the table.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I believe there are these trade-offs, and then you need to consider, is it really going to help me speed up the development, right? And if that is the case, also balance these budgets and these amounts that you have to be paying every month for these tools, right? So you definitely want to find that sweet spot where you get the max value out of the platform. So most probably when you are starting the project and you have like these maybe MVPs or proof of concepts, and even from there to a maybe one first version, right, that you launch to production. And once that you are there, maybe you also want to look back and see if it's worth keeping developing this particular application with this low-code tool, or if you want to start moving again to a more professional setup, right? So yeah, I agree with you. We need to have these trade-offs in mind when we are deciding to work with these tools too.
Sure, you have questions or?
Yeah, so did you talk about Flow already?
Not at all. I just mentioned at the beginning.
All right. Yeah, so maybe we can cover a bit how it works and what is it for, right?
Yeah, basically what I mentioned before is you can create a Flow applications, but with this concept, with the drag and drop concept, with low code. We'll solve those limitations we have when you have a specific scenario. Then probably you will need to decide to download the code, open the Visual Studio, and develop there. So that's basically the limitation. As you can see, we have this similar idea, right? The approach is very similar. Even the pricing, components, the way you can connect a database, everything is very similar. So actually, I think if you know one of them, you can easily switch between platforms, because it's basically the same knowledge you need to work with those tools.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's what I have. I'm not sure you wanna
Mm-hmm.
talk about a topic or?
Yeah, so what would be your take on these tools? Would you be considering them for new projects? And if we use them, how fast do you think you can get from a from a mock-up all the way to one application that we can deploy in production already? How fast could we do that, given that you have the experience with the platform, you have this possibility to expand it, right, and add your custom components, and what would be your take there?
Alfonso gave us a good example.
Mm-hmm.
SAP created a no-code app in SAP just within a week. So that's amazing, right? And probably it's connected also, Edgar, with the way, for example, when you worked there in Apple with these working sessions with the client. Imagine in the middle having this tool, right? And having these sessions with the clients and the developers. So you can easily create the platform and in a real time. So that's also amazing. But yeah, we need to consider we need to prepare the backend, or we need to establish if we have those services or not, or we need to modify something. But just seeing the front end, just seeing the product, it's amazing to have that tool. So probably you can reduce a lot the time of the project for the front end side.
Mm-hmm. So now I'm considering one coding challenge that we might get to do, or like a hackathon.
Yeah,
maybe one of these sessions, right?
Yeah, we can prepare a session here.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we can go and make some of these things live and see
That's
how
a good
much
idea.
time it takes, right?
Yeah.
For one particular requirement. That might be simple, right? But at the same time, will give us that feeling on what it implies to work on one particular platform. So what about the audience? Are you guys familiar with any of these tools? Could you share any insight about them? Have you worked with them maybe, or not? Not at all. I would like to hear, for example, from the Mexican team, right? Maybe we can ask Julio or Mao. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think they're interesting. They're pretty interesting, but I haven't worked with any of them. I would like to work with the PowerApps. I think it's very interesting. It's the most interesting because it has like a lot of features and everything. So that's pretty much what I think about it, that they're very interesting and then they can be very productive.
Okay, so are you experienced working with Microsoft technologies like Csharp, for example?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that definitely would be like a jump start for you, right?
Yes, I have this like little project for my mom's store. It's like just like a little checkpoint, so she can do all the checking out in the store very easily. So it's like it can improve it way better using these tools.
Okay, Rene, and what do you think if there was a tool like this, but for a language that where you don't have any experience working with, right? For example, let's say to work with Go. Given that you have these possibilities of dragging and dropping and going like that, and then you get the assistant, for example, with the AI, would you consider building one of these tools, one of these applications with these tools? Or do you feel that you really need to have this core knowledge, for example, in Go or another platform before starting with working with this or with any particular low-code platform? Would you risk it?
I think, in my personal opinion, I think I maybe need to like investigate a little bit before using it, like get a little bit of core knowledge before using the applications, because if I don't have any knowledge on that language, I need to learn like the core knowledges, like the basics of all of it, how it works, how to use it and everything. And then with the basics, I can probably use it because yeah, I already know like the basis of that. And then with my previous knowledge, I can like already assume what it's trying to do and how it's doing it. So yes, I think in my personal opinion, I would do it like that.
Okay, that's interesting. So who else would like to give it a shot? Perhaps Mau or Julio? Would you guys use one tool even if you don't know the language?
Sorry, Edgar, we are almost there with the time.
I mean, yes, I will also read a little bit, but I would probably just read while I'm doing it, like learning while doing it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good approach actually, where you can, like use it to build and at the same time learn on the side, right? And that would enable you, to create these applications. Yeah, that's actually a good idea, Mo. Maybe we can try that as well sometime.
I have a quick question as well.
Sure, Gabby, please.
Like, if you are using a low code or no code tool, can later on that be combined with a full coding project? Like, I'm gonna do something here with low code or no code, and then I'm gonna move to full coding. Does that make sense? Can we do that?
Yes, absolutely, that makes sense. So some of these platforms, right, they have these capabilities to export the project that you are building to code base, like to the code entirely, right? So for example, this application that, or this platform that Miguel showed us, Flutter Flow, right? You would create your project there, and then you can export, let's say, the Flutter project once that you are done. And then you can take it from there and actually work in the code directly. The downside would be that if you export the code, then most probably you wouldn't be able to modify things and take it back up, right? And start again with the low code tool from where you left it.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's like,
so maybe that's why like Mauricio, Rene haven't worked with that, because it's like not convenient for them at the moment for a particular project, right?
Yes, it might be the case. So there's always these things that you need to consider, right? So sometimes my take on this is that you want to use them, for example, when you are starting, right? Because you get the flexibility and you get this, boost in terms of building these features, and then you can create this base application. So maybe, and from there, once that you start getting more complex requirements, or that you need particular functionalities, or that you wanna simply, like move out from the platform, then you export it, then you continue with coding. But with that trade-off, you are out, then most probably you cannot get in again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good question. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Yeah. So if we don't have any other questions, we can start like wrapping up this session. Anyone else? Or are we okay for today?
Yeah, I guess we're okay. Oh, please go ahead.
Hey, just a quick question. Have you tried using OutSystems platform?
Well, particularly, I haven't tried working with it. I think it has this, based on what I've read, right? It has this downside where you have to stick with it once that you start with your project, and then you need to continue with the platform no matter what. But in general, I haven't had this direct experience. So
Me neither.
yeah, could you tell us a bit about that? Have you had a chance to try it, Aditya?
Yes, yes, Edgar. I actually installed it and I tried to play around with it. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
So that's kind of low-code, no-code app development platform, enterprise app development platform for building both web apps and also mobile apps. So I would highly recommend you to try it. I'm sure you will be excited.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I'll give it a try. Thank you, Aditya.
Outsystems.com. All right. Is Srini around here? Anything
Yes, I'm
that...
here. Hello.
Hi, Srini.
Greetings.
Hello. Anything you want to add about this topic?
No, but it's a great discussion. I was going on and off, but
Okay.
yeah, thanks for doing this so consistently. I think, it is inspiring team, and it is creating great vibes in the tech community.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, Trini, and being here, supporting us. Okay, everyone. So I think we can wrap up for today. Thanks again for being here. See you all next week for a new session. I will be sharing the flyer soon. Thanks again, and